What it do? Yeah, it's your brother man from the motherland coming to you guys live from the NY back with another one of that ROD pod. For those that don't know who I am him, Junes, the NBIC. And of course, I represent that ROD. Last but not least, I want to give a shout out to my ancestors, to my creators, to the YouTube family. For without you guys, it will be no me. Like I always say, I appreciate all the feedback, the positive, the negative. All things is respected and needed because it allows me to do what I do best. And that is to continue keeping my foot on you heathens, you Hebrews, and the newly installed heathenites. Next round of applause for that. Yeah. Let me start off by issuing an apology to you guys. I got home early, definitely was putting things together, but at the same time, I was starving, ate, and I'm not gonna lie, ended up catching a quick power grandpa nap. Got up and said, "Damn, man, what time is it? I gotta come on." So I said, you know what? Let's just wait for 10:30 and just rock out one time for the one time. So here I am, right? And today we're gonna have a conversation that we need to talk about, man. And we're gonna take this conversation out to, El Kebulans. Shout out to my El Kebulans. All my El Kebulans all over the world, whether you in America, whether you in Europe, whether you in Asia, whether you in the Caribbean, shout out to you. This one is about us today. Round of applause for that. So today's conversation, we're gonna take it to the Congo, man. I don't know if you guys are very in tune, me being on social media, being a content creator, being a journalist now. Welcome to the journalist field, right, Jones? Me being in this space, I come across a lot of things, and the one thing that came across my page, and I wouldn't say came across my page. I think my man sent it to me. Shout out to my son Biz. I think he sent it to me if I'm not mistaken. But basically, there's something going on in the Congo where children, teens, young men from the ages of 18 to 35 are being arrested and then persecuted, or excuse me, executed, or being scheduled for execution due to petty crimes. Now, I'm going to play a video so you guys can see it, and then we're going to read some articles and we're going to see exactly what the heck is going on. So let's play this video first before we even dive deep. Come on, people. We outside. You're. Oh, and for YouTube, just a FYI, educational purposes. Um, we don't need no copyrights. It's under 15 seconds. So please don't bother me. Let's do this.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Cause I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone. But I ain't never crossed a man that didn't deserve it. Me be treated like a punk.
Now again, as you can see, from the ages of 18 to 35 are being arrested and scheduled for execution. And let me pull up this information so you guys can see exactly what's going on. Right? Over it says, let me read it. Matter of fact, why not share your screen, right, Jones? Share your screen, Jones. Share your screen. Share your screen. And that's what I'm gonna do. Let me share my screen with you guys. Let's see if I can do it like this. No, they're not gonna let me. They're not gonna let me, guys. So put it like that. And then I'm going to hide this. Definitely hide that. Okay. I'll hide that. And voila. Voila, people. So it says the Congo. It's not what I wanted. Okay, there we go. It says the Congo will execute more than 170 people convicted of armed robbery, officials say. Yeah, my bad, guys. As you guys can see, I got kicked off once again. Um, had to reboot the modem, but we did that. We got it situated. I put on my security lock so it prevents me from getting kicked out while I'm giving this presentation. So let us continue. Where was I? It says 70 of the convicts was transported on Sunday. The Congolese Minister of Justice consists of Mutomba said, adding to 102 prisoners who have already been sent to the Argentina prison in northern Mongola province. The men have been convicted of armed robbery and are locally known as the Kulanis or the urban bandits. They are aged between 18 to the age of 35. Mutamba said in a statement he did not say when the executions would take place. Some have welcomed the measures as means of restoring order and security in the cities, while others are concerned about the risk of abuse and human right violations. We welcome this decision by the ministers because it will help put an end to urban crime from 8 p.m. onwards. You cannot move around freely because you are afraid of running into a kulana, said Fiston Kaluli, a resident of the eastern city of Goma. Okay, Espotor Mukanka, Muhanaka, excuse me if I'm butchering it, a human rights activist, warned of the possibilities of extrajudicial execution and called for a strict respect for judicial procedures and fundamental guarantees. He fears that political pressures could lead to unjust convictions and arbitrary executions. Now, for me, how can I how can I talk about this as far and not be biased, right? I guess you gotta see it from every angle, because especially when you are in the field that I'm in, you always gotta be sympathetic and empathetic. I don't wish death on no man. I believe that a death of a person should only come if that person killed somebody. That's just me. I don't think that robbing somebody is worthy of death. I do believe you do the time, you do the crime, you do the time. I stand on that. I also stand on who you robbing, right? If you are robbing fellow gang members or criminals, then that's just street activity. It is what it is. But when you attack civilians, I mean, that's just me. I think that's petty, that's coward, that's bullyingism, that's all of that, right? But at the same token, we're not gonna act like execution is not extreme. And when I see these young boys, man, I could just see it in their face. I could look into their eyes. These people are just trying to survive, man. You know what I'm saying? These people are trying to survive. These people probably coming from, broken households, tribes. You know what I'm saying? And these people just trying to make ends meet, man. People don't understand, like, the struggle that goes on at El Kebulan. People don't understand the struggle that goes on at El Kebulan. Can you imagine being black in your own land and being given rules and regulations by those that don't look like you, or those that take rules and regulations from them that don't look like you. You know what I'm saying? And to see how hard these young men have to work to get nothing, sometimes it's better off stealing. Now, granted, listen, people, I'm not justifying robbery. I'm not justifying hurting the weak, the poor, the male, the females, the children. I'm not supporting that. But I do understand some people logic behind the actions that they do. And it's crazy that me and my man was having these conversations today. And he was bringing out some very valid points. And like I told him, I feel where you're coming from as far as your viewpoint on the conversation that we was having. No need to, elaborate too much. But I understand where you coming from with that. But at the same time, how you feel and how you see it is really not subject for me to see it. Like I see where you coming from, but for me, from my analyze, from being in this field, from my observation, I don't perceive what's being done as wrong. Now, like I said, how my man's feel, he's right. But I don't look at it as deep as he did when it's pertaining to that. And it's always gonna be like that, right? So that's the same way I feel when it's pertaining to these actions, these drastic measures that's being done to these 18 to 35-year-old men. You know what I'm saying? Where these brothers are really just trying to get by. Okay? And some of you guys may see it in other ways because while I'm seeing all of this, I'm also paying attention to the cleansing that's taking place in the land. Right, like I told you guys over and over again, there's a worldwide cleansing that's taking place. The coconuts must be shaken off the tree of life. The coconuts, and when I say coconuts, I'm talking black on the outside, but the mentality is the mentality of a Julius Caesar. Okay, those individuals are being removed from high down to the low. You see what's going on with P. Diddy and all these celebrities, and you're seeing what's going on with just regular Joe Moes like us, right? When you seeing what's going on with regular Joe Moes like us, it's a line is really being drawn where you're going to decide if you're going to stand with righteousness or you're going to operate in evil. And if you're going to operate in evil, then there's a high possibility you will be removed. It's just a matter of when, right? And when you operate in righteousness, of course, it's going to protect you, it's going to preserve you and guide you through this storm that we're about to enter, right? We about to head down a very, very dark, cold, I don't want to say gloomy, but we're heading down a bad weather cycle. And I mean that mentally, physically, figuratively, spiritually, we're heading down that path where, you know, only righteousness is gonna be the ones to sustain. And when I say righteousness, I'm talking righteousness according to the creators. I'm talking righteousness according to Mother Nature. I'm talking about that righteousness. I'm not talking about institutions that take control of your mind and operate off your spine. Okay? He that controls the mind controls the spine. We're not talking about that. We're talking about pure righteousness that you guys are seeing. When you seeing young individuals like myself come on these platforms and talk that talk. Well, you find somebody younger than me coming on these platforms talking that talk. Um, you know, having classes, having functions, and these are things that I'm also, you know, putting in the works as far as having fundraisers and functions where you guys can meet me personally in person, have conversations, ask your questions. We working on that. It's a lot of things that I'm working on, but definitely putting a team together. If you want to be a part of this team, you want to be a part of the movement, send me an email. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell you guys all the time, send me an email, repentant.podcast.com. You could send me an email there. You could send it to Junior P. Lewis with the number 12 at Gmail. Send me an email, your name, and just put in the subject, want to get down with the get down. And we're gonna figure out how can we get you down with the get down. Right? So that's what we working on over here. Um it's kind of crazy, man. I mean, when I see these young boys, man, it just brings me back to when we was young in the hood. And like I said, I feel where they come from as well. You understand? Because I know people that did armed robbery, right? I know people that did it to survive, and I know people that just did it because they were assholes. I'm not gonna sit here and lie, right? But the ones that was assholes, you could see it in their eyes. And the ones that was doing it just to survive because, they was tired of being rejected and had to take care of their family. You know what I'm saying? So I could see that in their eyes. But what I saw, and we could play the tape again. Let's play the tape again. Again, this is fair use. YouTube, do not bother me and make it seem like I'm out here, you know, uh, that I'm out here attacking. That wasn't it. This is it.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Cause I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone. But I ain't never crossed a man that didn't deserve it. Me be treated like a punk.
You see what I'm saying? You can see it in their eyes. If you look carefully and you look into their eyes, right? You said the eyes is the access to the soul. So when you see it in their eyes, you can tell that these people is they ain't ain't nobody trying to be executed, but at the same time, you feel me? At the same time, nobody ain't trying to be executed, but they trying to eat, and again, also let's not act like looks cannot be deceiving, where this can just be a front or this can just be a cry because they got caught. I don't know. But in reality, armed robbery is not worthy of death. Execution for robbery? Nah, no, definitely not. 5 years to a degree. Me personally, I think that's too much. But 5 years, I get it. But come on, execution, taking somebody's life, a young 18-year-old, 18-year-old, 18. Now, a 35, 36-year-old man that's doing armed robberies, then we'll have a different discussion. Matter of fact, nah, we ain't gonna have no discussion because it's wrong. At the end of the day, it's just wrong. Period. There's no ifs, no buts, no maybes. It's just wrong. And by the looks at these people's face, man, it's wrong. Right? Let me see if I can get some more for you guys. Let me pull up some more. Because I believe there's more information. Just give me a second. Okay. Now this is another article. This is another article where this one says 102 men. Okay. So let me, as you guys can see, I'm already sharing my screen with you guys. Yeah, the stream froze, Calvin. Appreciate you, Montana. We back outside. This is what they do anytime I bring forth, information, getting straight to it. You know what I'm saying? No half-assing, no going around the bush, getting straight to it. It happens, but I put on my super guard now, so let's see what happens. But let's read. It says urban bandits. Now, guys, listen carefully. When you see this word urban, no matter what it is, just know that it's talking about you. Whenever you hear the word urban, they talking about inner city. They talking about underprivileged black and brown people. Urban, okay. When I played the video yesterday talking about the smart city that's coming in California in 2028, the beginning of the conversation was the restructuring of the urban community. Okay? Anytime you hear the word urban, people, listen carefully. Listen carefully. Anytime you hear the word urban, just know they're talking about you. Okay? It says at least 102 men has been executed. You see this? Has been executed in the Democratic Republic of Congo in the past week, with another 70 still set to be killed, officials say. Okay? Let's read. It says at least 100 men has been executed in the Democratic Republic of the Congo in the past week, with another 70 still set to be killed, officials have said. According to the Central African country Minister of Justice, the men who were armed robbers and the urban bandits were executed at the Angenia prison last week. 45 of the men, listen carefully, last week, 45 of the men aged 18 to 35 were killed, while the remaining 57 died within the last 48. A flight from Kingsia carrying the third batch of prisoners has arrived at the Angina Minister of Justice Construct Matumba said, though it's unclear when the execution will occur. Let's continue. It says the DRC controversial announced in March that it was ending a 20-year moratorium on the death penalty, which would impose and carry out, among other offensive cases of treason, war crimes, crimes against humanity, espionage, rebellion, and criminal conspiracy. The country abolished capital punishment in 1981, and while it was later reinstated in 2006, the last execution took place in 2003. President Felix Tekakisida said the decision was made with a view to riding the DRC army of traitors on one hand and the curbing of the resurgence of the act of the urban terrorism resulting in the death of men on the other. Let's finish reading all of this. Why not? It says the move sparked an outcry from human rights groups, with activist Esperar Mukanaka telling the Associated Press that the political pressure could lead to unjust convictions and arbitrary executions. The situations in the DCR is complex and required the multidimensional approach, he said. The fight against the urban gangs, okay, listen carefully, must go hand in hand with the efforts to combat poverty. So now I gotta show my face here. Hold on. We gotta talk, people. We really gotta talk. So now when you hear, you know, the attack on urban gangs and et cetera, hold on. No punches, man. What's up, man? You good? Say what's up to the people, man. What's up to the people? Say what's up to the people. But in all seriousness, when you hear them saying urban gangs and poverty, and they're just trying to remove. Listen carefully when I say this, people. They're trying to move the power structures or the influencers or the people that have power within the community. They're trying to remove them so they can have the hood the way that they want it. It's all about control, people. This has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with religion. This has something to do with power. The power that they want is to ensure that they are the remaining power structure on the world for as long as they live. As long as their existence is in place, that's what they want, and they're going to stay in these positions by feeding us religion, feeding us this fake food, giving us his story. That's why I try to tell you guys, stop reading and focusing on his story, the stories that they're writing, they are presenting to you. Start looking for your ancestry. Okay, there are that's their history. You need to find your ancestry. That's your uh 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 historical background and understanding and finding out who you are. It's just too much. It's too much going on in the world, too much confusion, too much information. It's just too much distractions for you to try to focus and pinpoint who you are to the point as a nation of people, because there's over 10,000 tribes in El Kebulan. There's over 10,000 rituals, 10,000 languages. Nobody knows who is who, what is what. El Kebulan, before it was called El Kebulan, I forgot the name of it. Damn, I got it in my phone. But before it was called El Kebulan, they used to call Africa the land of the gods. The land of the gods is what they used to call El Kebulan. This is before Africanus and all these people came and changed the names and stuff like that. This is before it was even converted into El Kebulan. It was really called the land of the gods. Okay? Don't listen to what these people are telling you when you hear the word gods. When you hear the word gods, you subconsciously automatically perceive it as fallen angels or this. No. The gods are the deities that okay, remember, the Europeans' history as far as gods and goddesses, their foundation comes from you, bro. Okay? The foundation of that comes from you. So when you hear the word God and goddesses, it's not what you think it is. It's what they want you to believe so you don't tap in to retrieve your spiritual power. Because this is about spiritual powers. See, we don't have, militaries and bombs and stuff like that. We never needed stuff like that. Okay? Never needed stuff like that. Our strength comes strictly from the sun, strictly from the earth, strictly from Mother Nature, strictly with the animals. Even when you read the Biblos, you will see that it was animals that was also attacking on our behalf. And I'm not subject to that, but I just want you to understand that as El Kebulan people, you need to know where your strength lies. Everything is yours. But the reason why we're not seeing that is because there's a massive disconnect. Now, again, what is that disconnect, guys? If I come to you right now, I say, hey, what is this disconnect? Why aren't you moving mountains? Why aren't you tapping into that other realm? What's the prevention? The prevention is the religion. The prevention is the religion. Now, until we denounce that and we start looking at who we are as El Kebulan kidnaps, until we start looking at ourselves as individuals that know their worth, that knows that The God that they're praying to on Sunday and Saturday is not them. It's not who they are. When we start realizing that and we start tapping in, then you're going to see the change. Then you're going to see the reform, the unification, the uprise. You're going to see that. The reason why you're not seeing these things right now is because of the spiritual disconnect. And not only that, you also got to remember that in the 60s, it was a high rise of religious institutions taking place within the black community. You had the Christianity with Martin Luther King, you had the Islam with Malcolm X, you had the five percenters with the Ben X, you had the Hebrew Israelites with damn, what's the brother name? Orion, Amarion, yeah, whatever these people name are. When you see the time frame, all of these things taking place in the late 60s, early 70s, man. Okay? And that's when there was the introduction to protest, march. We want justice. We want love. Accept us. I have a dream. That's where that came from. Prior to that, listen, I'm gonna tell you, when you look at people like, Nellie Fuller, Dr. Nellie Fuller and all these OGs, when you look up, none of these people supported Martin Luther King. There's not a single black political activist that stood next to Martin Luther King that supported, or should I say, that was on the same podium or the same mission or had the same power and admiration for black liberation. Nobody stood with Martin Luther King when it was time to have this I Have a Dream speech. They want you to believe that. But when you speak to the people in the South and you speak to the OGs, they'll say, no, we never agree with that. Because we knew what it was going to do. And you're seeing it today. This is what you're seeing today. But that's neither here nor there. Let's come back to the Congo and the executions that's taking place. And how does this affect us? How does this affect us, El Kebulans, here in the United States? I know a lot of you guys is gonna say, well, what does that got to do with us? Remember, that joint says the Democratic Republic of the Congo. They got both parties in Africa. I wonder why both parties in Africa, how does this affect us? They affect us because whatever rules that they're making, whatever democracy rules they are making in the West, in the East, in the North, in the South, will make its way to all other regions. And that's what you're seeing going on. Okay? It's only a matter of time. Oh, and for the brother that asked that question, and I believe it was months back, the brother asked me about when I was telling you guys that they was gonna shut down Rikers Island. So let me just give you guys an update. So August 2027 will be the last month of Rikers Island. Okay? When Rikers Island comes to an end, they are building big ass they call it mini small prison complex, but they are huge. Okay? They're gonna be huge. They're gonna have one on the Bruckner in the Bronx. They're gonna have one in Brooklyn, I believe, by the military. I forgot. I don't. I'm not mistaken. I think it's East New York. They're gonna have one there. They're going to have one in Queens. That one is probably gonna be what's that area called? By like Shea Stadium is gonna be around those areas, and every borough's gonna have their own prison complex. There will be no more. There will be no more Rikers Island come August 2027. There will be no more. If you want me to give you more in-depth information about that, leave a comment, say, yeah, we need that, and I got you. But yeah, August 2027. They're building up these big ass prisons right now as we speak. By 2027, listen, you guys don't even know where we headed. Yeah. By 2027, it's gonna be a whole new regime. Things are gonna be done different. People is gonna be People who will be incarcerated and put inside those facilities for petty, foolish crimes. They're gonna they're going to turn it up a notch as far as the penalties for crimes. I would not be surprised if there's jail time for this congested pricing. I would not be surprised if there's jail time for uh, um, not paying the turnstile, or walking in the back of the bus. They got police that's doing that right now. Like literally undercover cops that sit in the bus, wait for a group amount of people to get on, and issue summons and tickets and maybe even warrants. Who knows? You get your warrant read, you get your license read, and you got a warrant now. Your ass is in jail. You feel me? It's just a lot of things that's going on where we're heading as a country, and how it's affecting us as black people. We all gonna be affected behind this, people. It's a very, very sad, nasty, gruesome day, but we all gonna be affected. And what you see going on in the Congo, trial and error, practice, execute. See how it will function. Bring that to New York. Bring that to California. Bring that to the Caribbean. Bring that everywhere. Wherever democracy is, just know poverty comes along with it. Just know hatred comes along with it. Racism, imprisonment, all that comes along with it. Just wanted to just throw that out there. But that's what it is, guys. Um, I ain't gonna stay too long. Again, I want to issue my apologies for getting kicked off. Shout out to the brother Montana for telling me that the joint was frozen, as they always do. Anytime you come out talking what I'm talking and you delivering how I'm delivering it, press the button. Doop. Mm-mm. Remember, guys, remember, I didn't take the contract. Okay? I didn't take the contract that they be giving these people. Okay, my content remains the same. It never changes. But the tools that's being used, that is what changed. I will always stand with the creators. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. Don't let them whisper in your ear and tell you madness and foolishness like woman them. Nah, the mission remains the same. It's just the tools. It's just the approach is gonna be presented better. It's gonna be presented in the eyes of the El Kebulan, right? Like I said, ancestry, not his story. Okay? I'm here to deliver ancestral information, not his story. Okay? I'm here to deliver ancestral information. Ancestral information, not his story. Okay? So you go ahead and you let these people feed you and try to use female tactics to divide the masses, and don't don't go over there. Junior's over here. Don't, no, no. If you're a real one, you from outside, you know what I'm saying? If you're not from outside, you ain't gonna understand what Junes is on. But if you from outside and you from about that, you know what I'm saying? If you from about that and you come from where I come from, then you gonna understand my speech, man. Cause I don't sound nothing different. Nothing ain't changed. The only thing that changed is me opening the biblos and giving you guys a kumbaya. It's the only thing that changed. Other than that, the story of my ancestors has to come from my ancestors. The story of my creators has to come from my creators. Jewish people are not going to the German books of Judaism to go learn about who they are. It's Ashkenaz, is ostracized. You know what I'm saying? It's pure madness. Nobody's not gonna do that. But for black people tend to run to the enemy for information or validation of who they are. You have to make that make sense. You cannot tell me you black empowerment, you about black love, you about black righteousness, but yet your information or your source comes from the very people you're trying to tell people about and say, don't go listening to these people. These people are with the devil. But yet you're getting the information from the very people who even told you about the devil, who even told you that a devil exists. You're getting it from them. You got to make that make sense. And that's all I want you guys to do. I want you guys to start seeking ancestral information and not his story. Okay? Get your ancestral information right. Get your knowledge of self right. You know what I'm saying? Backtrack as far back as you can. And that's how you're going to find out who the heck you are. And me being a person, El Kebulan from the west of Africa, Benin or Cameroon, I already know Ogun, Oshay. I already know these are the deities that my ancestors called on when it was time for war. This was the deities my ancestors called on when it was time for grief. Okay? You know why we're not connected to these power sources no more? Because we're calling on the weaker gods. We're calling on the gods of the Euros. We're reading the story of the Euros and we're justifying it. We're justifying it or trying to minimize it or try to tell us that the story is about black people, where not a single black person can prove this. We got all these brothers and sisters that's in Africa, been in Africa, from Africa, that can't pinpoint not a single story in the Biblos into Africa. Not one. You're not gonna see the pillar of salt in Africa. Not gonna see that there. You're not gonna see the left behinds of the ark. You're not gonna see the meteors for Sodom and Gomorrah. You're not gonna see these things, bro. And if we're not gonna see it, then maybe it's time to start looking into the lens of your ancestors. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. According to the El Kebulan people, it is not a sin to connect with your ancestors and still give honor and respect and thanks to the creators. It's not. You are supposed to do that. Everything that is done in America is done backwards and wrong intentionally. Okay? Your loved ones, your dead, should not be buried far away from where they reside, meaning their family. You are supposed to connect. You're supposed to still have special rituals, right? Like their birthday, supposed to give acknowledgement, right? Supposed to on their day, supposed to cook them special certain foods and allow them to eat. Don't listen to the story that these people are telling you, man. Your ancestors will show up and eat. Your ancestors will show up and eat. I promise you that. I know for a fact. Because when my father died, my father was not leaving the house. His presence was very much strong in my house. My mother at the time, believing into the Catholic European Euro-Christian ideology summons a voodoo priest. Hey, why would she get a voodoo priest? You know why? Because the voodoo priest can tap into the spiritual realm, the realm that our El Kebulan kidnaps can't tap into. And the man did a summons, a chant, put some smoke in the air, and my pops had never been in the house ever since. This is facts. And me personally, I believe that he's in the outskirts, just, you know, whooping our asses. You know what I'm saying? Like making sure that me and my brothers do according to plan, right? So when I see things going rough, sometimes I say, yo, dad, that's you. I'm a chill, right? That's you. That's how I do it. Grandma, that's you. Grandpa, that's you. Ogun, that's you. O'Shea, that's you. Sunini, that's you. Nanini, that's you. Oh, and I just wanted to just give a quick FYI. I would never, I repeat, I will never, as long as I exist, I will never teach monotheism on this platform. Sunini, Nanini is not the almighty male God that stands alone. That's what his story told you. Ancestral information, it was plural, multiple, it was a balance. It was a male and a female's presence in the heavenly realm in all creation. The El Kebulan people is about life, not death. We live, we don't die. We multiply, we don't divide. We get divided when we invite the ideologies of the enemy. We don't do that. Sorry. Okay? But I will never, and I repeat, I will never teach monotheism on this platform. Sunini is male. Nanini is female. Nanini. Go ask the El Kebulan, they're going to tell you what Nanini is. Male and female substance. And I'm never going to tell you guys that Sunini Nanini is the father, knowing that you can't even find the word father in the Old Testament. Matter of fact, why not? What time is it? It's about to be an hour since I've been on. Why not? Why not? Why not, guys? Huh? Why not show you? Why not show you? Right? Why not show you? Okay? Okay? Why is it like this? Oh, I can't even show you guys because I turned it off. All right. All right. Give me a second. Give me a second while let me pull this together. Hold on. That's not what I wanted. Hold on. Watch this. Show you. Show you. Pull this up. Now look, let me show you this. I'll put it in my chat GPT so you guys can see this. Right? Then I'm gonna gracefully bow out like I usually do. You feel me? But let me show you this. Right? Because you know, a lot of you guys be thinking that I be capping, or I just be, I just be talking or chatting like how my lady says. She don't like when I say capping. She says, how old you think I am? Do I look like I'm 17? I be like, nigga, you just said chatting. It's the same thing, bro. You know what I'm saying? But look, read it carefully, nice and slow, so you guys can hear, and we don't want to hear nobody's mouth moving forward. It says, in the Old Testament, in the Old Testament, neither Abram, Isaac, Jacob, David, Saul, nor Solomon directly address or refer to God as Father in a personal or direct way. While the concept of God as Father is present in the broader conventional and communal sense, it is not often personalized by these figures in the text. Instead, their relationship with God is usually expressed through titles like Lord God of Israel, Almighty God, and the Lord my God. The use of Father for God in the Old Testament is more communal, and as seen in the prophetic and the poetic writings, and it is typically tied to God's relationship with Israel as a nation rather than individual figures. Here are some observations. Okay, Abram, Isaac, and Jacob. These patriarchs primarily refer to God in terms of his conventional name Yahweh, or as the God of my fathers. There is no record of them calling God Father directly. It says David often speaks to God in personal terms, calling him my God, my rock, my refuge in Psalms, but he does not explicitly call God Father. However, Psalms 89 verse 26, often associated with the Davidic promises, speaks of the relationship between God and David's lineage. He will call out to me, you are my father, my God, the rock, my savior. Saul, there is no direct reference to Saul calling God Father. Saul's interaction with God are often formal and strenuous, reflecting his complex relationship with the divine guidance. Solomon acknowledged God's greatness and conventional faithfulness, especially in prayers like dedication of the temple, First Kings 8, but he does not use the term father for God. Okay, the concept of God as a personal father become more prominent in the New Testament, especially in the teachings of Jesus, who encourage addressing God as Father. This personal intimacy with God as Father is a development that builds upon the foundational, conventional relationships founded in the Old Testament. So again, you don't hear nobody, you don't hear no patriarch, even the 12 tribes referring to God as Father. So I then ask that question, people. This is where I then ask the question. So if the Old Testament don't have no mention of God being Father, so then where does that come from? And matter of fact, let me see if I have it in my phone because I think I saved it. I'm gonna show you where it comes from. Hold on. I think I got it saved in my phone. Hold on. So where does that term father come from? Mm, mm. And I'm gonna do a part two to this because there's a lot more I wanted to touch on. But I ain't get a chance to. Man, where did I save it at? Damn, I can't find it. But let me end this video. I want to end this with playing this video right here. now, now you know me saying all of that as far as talking about information that was given unto us as far as the history of our history compared to our ancestral information compared to the history that was given unto us by these people. Now, I want to play this video. The reason why I go as hard as I do about these things is because of what these these religions and being so invested in seeing things from their perspective, it makes you start questioning who you are to the point where brothers would you know hate themselves. And I'm gonna show you a video right now where a brother has a high rise of hate for himself, and the question is why. And I'm gonna show you. Look.
I ain't African, you wolf!
It's crazy.
I'll take you on. What you looking at, you black bastard?
What did you just call me?
You old black bastard coon. Fucking prick! You had your last warning. I'm suspending you from this school. Okay, get out! Get back to your work!
Now, as you guys can see, a lot of our people, and it's not just this video right here, but a lot of our people have this type of mentality where they don't want to be black. You know what I'm saying? You had people like Vibes Cartel. You had a lot of people that's coming from the Caribbean islands that want to come to America with a fresh start. And they believe coming to America with a fresh start is bleaching their skin because of what they see on TV. When you see what's being advertised on TV, 9 out of 10 times, man, there's always going to be a light-skinned girl, light-skinned boy that, supposed to be the representation of black people. But the reason why I'm playing this is the reason there's a high rise of individuals having self-hate, and that self-hate comes from the Euro-Christian ideology. That self-hate comes from always being told that you are a curse and everything that's happening to you is because of a curse, right? Before you came into understanding the Old Testament, they told you that the curse came from Ham. When you started reading the Old Testament, they tell you that the curse came from Jacob and you not keeping the commandments. That's the only thing that's, when it pertaining to black people, the only thing that's being promoted to us, right, is a justification of enslavement and a justification for genocide. There's no way, there's no ifs, buts, or maybes. And this right here is just a prime example when a man got self-hate, where us as parents or caregivers, mothers and fathers, think that a child gets the best education going to an all-white school or all privileged school. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where that ideology come from. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, as a black man, Kebulan, I think my best school years in childhood was when I was in school in the hood, right? Yes, it wasn't perfect. Yes, it wasn't uh, heavenly secured. Yes, I get it. But it forces you to be a man. It required you to be strong. You couldn't be weak. You had to stand 10 toes down. You had to stand on something, right? You couldn't just be just airdropping, airhead, like how they call it, right? Couldn't do that, right? So I never understood why mothers and fathers rather have their children going into a facility around a whole bunch of people that don't look like them. Do you know the high level of uncomfortability? You know how uncomfortable I will be? Imagine me going into a school or all white school. That's why I never understood why, you know, people signed up to be the first black child to go into an all white school in the time of the Jim Crow laws. Like, who would want their child to do that? I would. I'm not putting my child through that, right? And then when my child gets violated like him right here, you know what I'm saying? You can't put your hands on them. Can you imagine? You know what I'm saying? Like those type of parents, yeah, they coming for blood. Like, did you allowed a nigger to hit my child? Oh, if you don't take care of it, this school will be named after my son in the next 72 hours. And it's a fact. And you see what goes on. But I had to play you guys this video because I want you guys to see the mentality that the mass majority of black people have. You'll see black women with blonde wigs on. You know, they dyeing their eyebrows blonde, or you know, putting on blondish lipstick, just trying to look like a Euro, genetically modified. Everybody want to be a genetically modified. Not a single person want to be a El Kebulan. And the reason why black people don't want to be El Kebulan, because there are things in front of you that prevent you to look at El Kebulan the way El Kebulan should be looked at. You see El Kebulan as a cursed place, right? You got brothers that's claiming these religious organizations that's telling you black people, those that's in Africa are Hamites and they are cursed people, and this is why you shouldn't want to be around them. Then you go into Christianity, you go into other things, and all of these things is teaching the same thing, that being black is nasty, is evil, is wicked. Doing black magic is evil and wicked. Anything being with a black woman is evil and wicked. Talking like a black man is evil and wicked. You must be like the Euro Christian Jesus Christ. Give them one cheek and the other. Put your trust in the Lord. Go look up top and pray better than any other. And everything is going to be all right when you get out the gutter. And that's just not what we're doing. I'm not doing that. And the ancestors know what time it is over here. My creators know what time it is over here. I spoke to, listen, Mama Love don't spoke to me. You feel me? Mama Love just told me what time it is. No, baby. You're not giving this to your fellow comrades, your brothers and your sisters. You know, if you try to do that, you know what your pop's gonna do to you. Say, you know what? You right, Mama Love. Let me start encouraging Black El Kebulan people to start loving themselves, start loving their land, start loving their people, start loving their ancestral information. Let's make them start loving that. And we're going to start it this month. And we're going to continue moving forward. And like I said, it's just the beginning of the Matrix New Year. It's a lot more things that we're going to be doing. So I want you guys to stay tuned, man. But with that being said, people, it was an honor. It was a privilege. I'm deeply grateful for each one of you guys, every single one of you guys that tune in, every single one of you guys that leave feedback, every single one of you guys that support, that subscribe, every single one of you guys that tune in on my Instagram. We at 25K. We trying to get it to 30K by the end of the year, if not sooner. You feel me? We out here doing what we supposed to do, right? That's what bring the hood into the kingdom. Why? Because we deserve that. You heard? But with that being said, it's your brother man from the motherland. Came to you guys live once again. For those that don't know who I am him, Junes, the MBIC. And you know what I represent. You know what I stand for. I am him. Okay? Mr. Keep my foot on you heathens, you Hebrews, and the newly installed Heathenites snacks. So if it's your first time, I hope it's not your last time. If it's your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth time, that means I'm still on your mind. That means we gotta stay on that grind because it's about that time. Time for what? Time for you guys to go get yours because I am on that journey. I am on that journey to go get mine. It's your brother, man. You understand? And I'm a holler. One.